I need to state this because it's crazy to see what Mappa has done with part 2 of the final season here, because this episode, the chapter that it adapts, right? I remember when reading it, enjoying it, thought it was good, and in rereads, when binging the volumes, I mean, it works better in a binge because you have all the extra context and things like that, but I would never go to my way to say the content that was adapted in this week's episode is some of the best in the past 6 or so chapters or episodes, right? But the way Mappa takes that content, which is good, it's solid, but it's not the best, and then somehow turns it into the best. It blows my mind what a quality adaptation part 2 has been, because they're taking good content and turning it into amazing content. And I think one of the best examples of that is, I mean, of course, you have the obvious SAKUGA animation, Mikasa, and just everything that happened there. I believe they brought in some pretty key staff players here who just are animating out their ass. Like, it's incredible to see that. Even before the subs dropped, I saw that clip of 30 seconds of her just slashing and just cutting fools apart. Incredible shit. I rewatched that so many times. Falco's jaw titan and everything like that. I mean, that's probably another great example, in my opinion, of elevating it. I was never overly big into his Titan design. I thought there's not been a Titan, a main line Titan, one of the 9 Titans, that I've said, oh, that looks like shit. But I've never been overly impressed, I guess is how I would say, the same way I was when I saw Aaron's Titan or Annie's Titan for the first time. But the way they use colors and the perspectives into revealing his Titan form, I thought he looked badass. And I thought his fight was badass as quick as it was, to then tearing him out of the Titan before he ultimately made a very bad mistake and took out the cart Titan there. But I think one of the best elevated moments for me is the end scene sacrifice, where you have 2 of the biggest best boys in the episode. I mean, one guy who basically, the commander here, right? He's went from basically sending kids to the wall and basically using them as government propaganda to recognizing that kids should be innocent in the times of war, regretting his actions and giving them a fighting chance and making the ultimate sacrifice. Best boy Shady's here. I mean, come on, you can't not love him at this point. I mean, he may have pissed you off at the beginning of season 1 there, but he's become such a badass. And to see him stick by, looking for a place to die, being inspired by them working with Annie, and just a simple name exchange. That scene, while it was impactful for me when originally reading it, I wasn't as blown away, no pun intended, about what I just saw here, because the voice actors and how subtle, there wasn't tears in their voice, there wasn't this fear in their voice, it was just mutual respect. 2 people put into any situation prior to this would be pointing guns and trying to kill each other, but in this moment have put past what's happened before, what might happen in the future, but recognize they both have people that, it's worth fighting for. And for someone like Shady's here, I mean, he's fought enough. I mean, sure, he didn't have to die in that moment. It's not like he had to fight off the people as they prepped the explosion. But if there was ever a place for him to go out, I mean, at this point, passing the torch to, the others, and the idea of not letting him go out alone for the sacrifice is just the perfect way. And the way they directed that, and just placing the gun down, firing it, the explosion, the reactions from the others, just seeing their heartbrokenness. It was just such an elevated episode, and it wasn't just the obvious action animation, it was across the board. Connie coming in clutch, John coming in clutch, Mikasa coming in clutch, the group coming in clutch. There's so many times with Reiner who it makes sense for him to take most of the brunt force, because Annie, while she can defend herself, it's not the same as the Armor Titan, but even him, he was basically taking those Thunder Spears when he should have been retreating and recovering. And there's moments where the female Titan has no head, Reiner is basically looking like Armin in last week's episode. It was just not looking good, and to see the first transformation of the Jaw Titan with Falco there, I mean, frantically trying to hurt himself in order to transform, them warning not to do it because the first time is always the worst, because you really aren't in control, you're just kind of a walking menace. But to see just what happened when he did, and just had he not done that, there would have been more character deaths. I mean, we already knew we were getting character deaths because, I mean, the end of last week's episode literally shows Annie kicking people and breaking their spines as sending them into the ocean. Matter of how many bigger players would Flock die. I mean, he gets shot around in the shoulder area from what it looks like and then gets thrown into the ocean as they're retreating. The man, for as crazy as he has become, he is very analytical. He understands when to see through the bullshit, like in the case of Armin's plan last week, while also recognizing, like, why would they try to be sailing? Like, in order to catch up to Eren, you would need to be basically having that entire thing operative. Oh shit, they're gonna drag it and basically get it over here, because even though it's gonna take half a day at worst case scenario to get it operating, you can start working on it here and then finish it up over here. But the idea of like ending the episode in such a way to break Annie's heart, it's pretty heartbreaking. The way they can turn characters who used to make you foam at the mouth and rage to feel so bad about you can't save your hometown. The entire reason Annie was fighting was to save her father and where she grew up. But knowing that Marley and they're screwed at this point, but you have a chance to save other innocent people. You have the complete opposite with the Jaegers saying, like, if they kill Eren, you know, the people are going to rebel and they're going to kill us, your family, your mothers, your fathers, your sons, your lovers, like, they're all going to die. And it's interesting to see the very two different ideologies of basically the Jaegers trying to protect what's theirs in order to not let the outside world continue to trample on them and destroy them, where you have basically the crew here trying to give humanity a shot about not basically destroying everything else in the surrounding area. And I mean, that's what's so interesting about Isayama's stories, how he presents it in such a way of like not trying to make it so the readers and the obviously now the watchers don't strongly pick a side, but see how both sides got to the point that they got to. And if there is a point of trying to have that dialogue, we should try it, right? I mean, look at the Annie scene as well. If I try to kill Eren, will you try to kill Eren? Will you try to stop me to kill Eren? They're still building up to even Eren himself. They want to talk. They haven't committed to even killing Eren. There is that divide there, because dialogue is something that they want to strive for. And then, if dialogue doesn't work, maybe violence then continues to happen, right? And it's maybe a fool's gamble. Maybe no one will make it, right? Maybe they'll try to attack Eren and they all end up getting killed. And then Eren's going to look and be like, God damn it. You know, I was trying to, make it so you had a life to live, right? But the thing is like freedom has always been such a big theme in this show, about the freedom to basically see the world, see that ocean, see the volcanoes that were just mist to them back in the early days of season 1 there, right? But it also, said freedom is going to come at a cost. The world won't like it that you went outside those walls, and is the world going to try to kill you for doing so? It's just, there's so many heavy things about this story, and the way they perfectly encapsulate all the complex emotions and how they can redeem and break apart our opinions of characters never fails to impress me. Overall, I of course leave another episode of Attack on Titan blown away by what they've done with this adaptation. It'll be interesting to see where the last episode, which we won't be getting it next week, it's going to be a week delay because there's a special NHK program airing when Attack on Titan normally would air. So there is a 1 week delay before the final episode, but I do think we should be getting information on either part 3 or a movie next week from what I'm hearing, but of course we know we are getting more since we are ending this part of the anime at chapter 130 out of 139, and 130 isn't an ending, right? So we'll see where it goes from here, but let me know your thoughts, especially if you're anime only, what you thought of this crazy ass episode, favorite moment if you have any. Leave a like if you enjoy and subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.